All right, here we are. This is
guys.
exciting.
Welcome back to the Joe and Todd Show. We're back, and today we have a special guest with us.
First of all, who are we?
I'm
Joe Mathis.
I'm Todd Wade.
Yes, go ahead with what you're saying, because this is good stuff.
We have a guest
This is
today
exciting.
with us, which is really fun and exciting. We've done this a couple other times, and we've got a few more coming up as well. But today we have Mary Beth Babcock.
And in our community, we live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And in our community, I think she's just an icon. I mean, I really do. For what she's done for our city, I really believe that she's taken a lot of the oil history, the Art Deco, some of that sort of stuff, and turned it into a fun thing and really made so much fun about Tulsa. And that's
this will be fun for me because I have seen Buck Adams. We have a Buck Adams with us as well. He's
We'll
not
talk
our
about that.
special guest, but we'll talk about that.
He's kind of our special guest. He's our honorary guest.
Honorary guest. But yeah, so I've seen him around, but I don't know a whole lot about Mary Beth.
Yeah,
so
here we go.
I would love. I'm really excited to learn more about you today.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
welcome.
So
I'm
glad you're here.
so
Joe and Todd
excited to
Show.
be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
You bet.
This is so cool. I just want to say thank you. I mean, because really, I think when I think about creativity, you embody creativity to me. I remember we were just talking about we actually didn't meet till today to actually call each other by name, but I've known who you were for a long time. I remember having a Mary Beth sighting somewhere. I think it was at Lambrusco's or Community in Brookside or somewhere. And I remember seeing you and just watching your exuberance for life. And I think that's what embodies your store, your whole place of your bed and breakfast, everything kind of going on. And you've livened up Route 66. You've just brought so much inspiration to Tulsa in the past 15 years. I mean, it's great. Just what all you've done.
Thank
you.
You're too kind. Sometimes I don't even realize what I'm doing. I just do what I love.
I said to someone the other day, it's like you have made creativity cool. And I think that's a lot of it is because you are creative. You're a creative person. You don't mind being creative. You don't hide your creativity, and you're happy to make it that. So tell us about your life. How did you even get to become were you an artist? Did you draw? Did you paint? Did you dance? Where all this creativity brought you through life?
Goodness, that's a good question.
I know your dad was a musician, right?
No.
Oh.
No.
But okay, just tell me more then.
Okay. He's the legend. We'll talk about him.
Yes.
Gosh, I think about, so my parents, when I was young, they used to go into antique shops all the time. Okay. And the kids are always drug along and they're like, oh, we have to go. But I'll never forget seeing a giant golden old time cash register.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember just zoning in on that thing, and I thought it was magical. And this was as a kid. And I remember, those big numbers and those big gold buttons. And so I think, honestly, that's where it began. And then for Christmas, I asked for a little cash, one of those electronic cash, calculators that had the rolls of paper. Yeah. Got it for Christmas. And I even have a picture of my dad helping me put the roll on there. And I love pushing those buttons and seeing that paper roll up. So honestly, I think that's when it began. So and then, in high school, you have the FBLA, the Future Business Leaders of America, and I loved that. It was I loved that class. We sold. It was when 7-Up had those red little characters, the dot spot.
Spot.
And we had to sell those. And I remember, but I loved it. I thought it was so cool. And then designing. I was a cheerleader from 7th grade to a senior in high school.
Oh, cool.
So my enthusiasm comes from that.
Okay.
Right? So it's so wild how you fast forward in life and it all makes sense. And that I love to cheer for everyone, not just one, thing. It's just I anything that's positive, that's, uplifting for Tulsa, for Oklahoma, I'm all about it. So
you're definitely Oklahoma's cheerleader. Tulsa's cheerleader. We're glad. That makes a lot of sense.
Well,
I love that.
Then went to OSU and worked for Stan Clark at Eskimo Joe's.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
So there's a lot of influence.
I'm an LSU grad. So
Yes. Yes, go Pokes.
Making sense. Yeah.
Right? And so I originally was a hostess, then worked as a waitress, and then I was like, I want to do retail. And so my major was retail merchandising. Got a job originally I was going to work in the clothing store, but there wasn't an opening. So they put me in the print shop.
Okay.
So I was quality control. As those t-shirts come down the dryer belt, I made sure they were okay. Then a gal left, I got promoted to assistant manager of inventory control. And that is where, I mean, they gave me so much freedom to do it, on my own. So I learned so much there, seeing Stan Clark's enthusiasm for his company. That just, I mean, it hit me.
Talk about learning about branding and making a mark and an image for yourself.
Exactly. And even to this day, whenever I see him, I'm like, thank you.
So did you ever think that you would be that kind of person, like that would make a brand and a mark for a city? I mean, here we are with Buck Adams, like iconic Tulsa here.
I didn't, but and those are those things I don't look back. I'm always just going. So I don't reflect a lot on what I've done. So it's cool to do an interview like this and realize what I've done.
I love it.
I did this.
Tell us about Buck Adams. We're in the we're in the world.
My big baby.
Tell us the story.
Okay.
Tell us the legend.
Buck. So
postcards here too.
Buck is on. So the shop. I've got a shop. Buck Adams Cosmic Curios on Route 66, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Tulsa has the longest stretch of the route as far as cities go, and that's kind of a cool thing to tell people about. But retail, I've loved retail. I had a shop for 10 years downtown, and things changed, and I missed doing that. And so one day, I did a couple different things in between, but one day I said, what do you want to do? I got frustrated. I thought I was getting too old. I thought, there's all the young kids coming in and opening new stores, and do I still have it? And yes, I do.
Yes,
I do.
Yes,
but
you do.
One morning, I literally got a pen and paper, and I said, I want to do retail, but something small. I wanted it to be manageable for myself and enjoy it and not get too big. And 30 minutes later, this little 1950s PEMCO gas station on Route 66 got posted on Facebook.
No way. 30 minutes later.
30 minutes later.
Wow.
And I can't make these stories up. And I was like, that's it. And I knew that the Mother Road Market was coming. It hadn't opened yet. So I knew people were investing in the route. And so I thought, I think I'm going to gamble again and give this a shot. And so the crazy story about this guy. So I had worked with this guy, Jeremy Luther, in the past, and with Dwelling Spaces, my old store, probably 6 years before it closed, I was like, we need a mascot. So I thought, with Dwelling Spaces, I said, a space cowboy. So had him create one. I never used it.
Oh, wow.
So I had it just sitting in my computer in
drawer.
files.
Okay.
So when this opened, I was like,
this is it.
The space cowboy is coming alive. So we needed a cowboy name and a space name. So you've got Buck, the cowboy, and then Atom, ATOM for space. Buck Atom.
Good, yes.
And in a nutshell, his mission is just to help revitalize Route 66.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
My baby.
Cool.
And so, of course, now if you come to Tulsa, visit Tulsa, there's a huge. How tall is Buck?
Yeah. So Buck, we now have this statue. He is. He is
amazing.
21 feet tall with his hat.
Grief. Wow.
Okay.
So typically, what is he? He's called a Muffler Man.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I thought, being on Route 66, I needed obviously a roadside attraction. It just made sense.
There's a blue whale. There's got to have something else. Yeah.
And so with time, it wasn't right off the bat. This was maybe a year after being open. I knew of these things called Muffler Men, which were originally made in the 60s for gas stations, tire shops, to get people to come into the store. Come get your tire changed or whatever. So we started, my brother knew of one that was close to Enid, Oklahoma. He called this old lot, like a junkyard, up. Would you be interested in selling? No, it's too much of a draw, for people to come. And I thought, and then I knew of this guy, Joel Baker, and his company's called American Giants, which are Mufflermen. And so I reached out to him. I said, do you have time for a phone call? He said, give me a call tomorrow. We talked for an hour. Long story short, he introduced me to this guy, Mark Klein, in Natural Bridge, Virginia, who's a fiberglass sculptor.
Oh.
I gave him a little sketch of Buck, and then he drew out this Muffler Man, and he said, like this? I said, yes.
Oh, so cool.
So then it's like, okay, how in the world am I going to pay for this? I don't have the money just sitting in my pocket. So we sold Commemorative Bricks.
Yeah.
And so now all around the base of Buck are these bricks with people's, somebody who's passed away or anniversaries or just all sorts of things. Yeah. And so that's how we paid for it, as well as there were quite a few awesome entities, businesses, people that were invested in the route that wanted to see this happen as well. Yeah. So there are those people that's so cool. See what you're trying to do and are like, hey, I want to help.
See the vision, make it come true. Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's great.
So it's designed to look like a Muffler Man.
Well, it is technically a Muffler Man, but it's brand new.
It's not made out of mufflers.
Nope.
But the original Muffler Men were made out of mufflers?
Nope. The original ones were called Muffler Men because a lot of them were found like in fields, and people would get them refurbished, and then they would see them holding mufflers.
Holding a muffler. Gotcha.
So
that's the rocket, hence it's the Rocket Man, basically, instead of Muffler Man.
Yes. So if you look like on Route 66, there's the Gemini Giant, there's the Hot Dog Man, there's
the giant rocking chair, whatever.
Yeah. But you can find so many different, now
variations of the Muffler Man. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
Cool. Oh, I love that.
Isn't it crazy?
So, So tell me the funniest stories of people taking their picture with Buck Adams. Because you've got to have some great stories. Like what's the funniest one you can think of?
That you can tell
in public.
Well, I think one of the best was, funniest, I think it's funny. I came to work one day and there was like this real colorful bra laying down in front of Buck. And I was like, hot pink and flowers. I said, Buck had a good time last night.
Wow.
I said, no. There are all sorts. There's crazy. We tried to have fun with that.
You have cameras so you go back and look and see.
We do.
Anything interesting?
As far as funny though, we've had some pretty awesome people come by. We had Jack White come by. We've had
Leonardo DiCaprio,
right? Leonardo DiCaprio came and shopped.
And you knew who he was.
Well,
could you tell who he was?
Well, it was an employee was working. A different gal was working, and it was her first day.
Oh wow!
And she said and she was great. She had hat down low, mask up high. Yeah. She was very respectful, which I love.
Absolutely.
Love.
Absolutely.
He ended up buying our Bigfoot Oklahoma hat, and he's been wearing it around.
I love it. That's great.
So naturally, the sales with that have gone.
Yeah, everybody wants one now.
Yes,
because Leo has one.
Yes, one of the production assistants on the film told me. He said that is what everyone. He said so many people on the film now are wearing that hat.
Oh, that's funny.
I said this is
awesome.
This is awesome. So it. That's another thing, when people are in town, they're looking for stuff to do.
Yeah.
Go get a picture with the driller. Go see Kane's Ballroom. Go get a picture with Buck Adam. Mm-hmm. So when I created this, I thought if I haven't figured something out with retail by now, I shouldn't be doing it. So I thought, let's create a roadside attraction.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. I love it. And I think the thing we try to talk to creatives a lot and think about how to just up the game in creativity.
Yes.
One of the things we talk about a lot is there's so many people out there who have the dreams, the vision, but they are just kind of afraid to go for it.
Right.
They're just kind of afraid to make it happen.
Yes.
What would be your advice for them? Like the person who's sitting around at home with their drawing of Buck Adams on the computer.
Yes.
Like what do you
what'd you do right and what'd you do wrong?
That's a really good question. I think I've been motivated a lot in my life by one particular thing I remember, and I love my mother and father have passed away, but my mom, I remember I would be kind of a big dreamer, And she would always kind of bring me down, like not bring me down,
Right,
but like
right, yeah.
say, well, you know, that's
Bring it back
kind
to
of
earth.
that's
Back
kind
to
of
reality.
like you're kind of thinking in La La
Yeah,
Land,
yeah,
like that's a
yeah.
fantasy.
Yeah.
So that kind of was a challenge to me.
Ah.
So when I'm told or when somebody thinks I'm nuts for, you know, when I first opened dwelling spaces downtown, this was 2006, there was no ballpark, no BOK center, nothing.
Right.
People thought I was nuts
Right.
because I looked at Cherry Street, looked at, Brookside area, but I'm kind of a rebel.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I like to do things a little different.
Yeah.
And then end up creating that environment. But,
Right.
you know, passion, you know, any creative that wants to make a reality a thing, they have to be passionate about what they're doing because it's not easy. You all know this. It's not easy.
You had that. You knew what you wanted to do.
Yes.
And that was your vision and your driving force.
Yes.
So I feel like that really made it easy to just go for it
Yes.
all the way.
Yes. And talking to
Because you're
other
sold
people.
out at that point.
Yes.
Right.
And once you do, that was another thing. When I tell somebody, you know, somebody that I admire of an idea, that's another kind of, I've got to do it now.
Oh,
like the follow
They
through.
know, yeah.
I
If I
can't.
Go
don't
back.
do it, it
Right,
happens.
right. So
I love
that
that.
truly is kind of a motivation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say to people, find what it is that you love, really hone in on that, and why do you love it? You know, why? And
That
then
is such
Go
great
for
advice.
it. Oh, I love that.
I love that.
That's really good.
yeah.
What's your biggest obstacle? What do you just either one particular one or just a kind of overall?
Oh,
What's your
gosh.
biggest
obstacle? You've got some good questions.
That was not even on the paper.
Uh-oh, you went off script. I
Biggest
love it right now.
obstacle. Probably a friend of mine, she always says, you have a lot of tabs open in your brain.
Yes.
Okay. Probably I do love being creative and I love coming up with all these ideas. So probably an obstacle is like,
Narrowing it down.
yeah,
Focus.
and
Yeah.
focus. Like,
I
let's
get that.
make this thing right here.
Yep.
This is, you got a lot going in this little area. Let's focus on this. Focus.
Yeah.
Focus. That might be my biggest obstacle.
That could be mine too, couldn't it?
Maybe a little bit.
And
Yeah.
you know, I've learned to be patient. You know, sometimes you hear, oh, there's not enough parking or this or that. And I've just learned to kind of go with the flow. There's
No.
some things I can't control.
So don't listen to all the criticism, all the voices that say.
No.
I think that's the
No.
hardest thing for creative, and we've talked about that before. Of the voices, either the people saying you can't do it,
Yes.
or you're not going to make money at it, or
Right,
how are you
right.
going to pay your bills,
Right.
or there's not enough parking,
right.
or whatever it is. You're not open the right hours. I mean,
Right.
It's all those
There's
voices
always going to be that.
that are speaking to you. So it's just learning not to listen,
Exactly.
or listen to the right ones. Listen to the ones that are valuable.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I
Good
have
stuff.
another question that's off script. What's your next big vision, or can,
Oh, I was
can you
thinking
tell
that
us
too.
about it?
Yeah, what do you want to do?
Now that you've
Besides
built
take
Buck
over the
Adams,
world.
Oh.
I mean,
Seriously.
Yeah, but-
So, okay, with the movie, the Killers of the Flower
Yeah,
Moon movie
yeah.
being shot, a lot of the actors have come in. So I've had opportunities to be like, to pitch this little crazy idea,
okay,
right?
okay.
So I've
So
thought.
careful now, you're going to tell our whole audience about this.
No,
So
I have to make
now
it
you got to
happen.
make it happen. Careful what you
Okay,
say.
this is good.
Here we go.
This is good. This is good
You heard it
motivation.
here first.
So there's a guy, so Buck does have a little story that I made up. You know,
Mhm.
Buck used to rodeo up and down Route 66 back in the 50s, and one day a rocket ship pulled him up into space. He had been zooming across space, Route 66, but from space. Noticed it needed some help with revitalization, so landed at Buck Adams, right?
Oh, gotcha.
So I had that just as a little story.
Right.
Yeah.
So I talked with a artist, Peter Bedgood, and
Mhm.
I told him the story. He illustrated it. So we have a comic now.
Oh, cool.
But I thought, how cool would it be if there was some sort, even if it was a short, and it could be real life, it could be cartoon, a short story, a short
Film, video,
film.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And like I
Yes.
said, it could be Buck's, Buck, that's another thing. I want, he kind of speaks for
Right.
me now.
Right.
Like I don't have to always be in the
Right.
in the camera, but I want him to show people, if you're in, I remember a guy had just lost his wife, and he messaged me and he said, I just wanted you to know I drive past Buck because it makes me smile.
Oh, wow.
So
I love that.
Oh,
those
that's so cool.
kind of, even like if I did like some sort of film or something, you know, it
Yeah.
would be a feel good kind of deal. Like it's,
Yeah. Wow.
we're here for such, I don't know how long, but here in life. And I'm like, while we're here, let's enjoy it. Let's, you know,
Why not encourage other people?
smile,
Make people
encourage-
smile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
I
the
love
big
it.
idea.
Oh, I love it. That's so
Come on,
cool.
Phil.
Well, how can we help you? How can we encourage you? How can we just do something? I feel like we need to do something for you.
Oh.
How can we help you?
Yeah. So what encourages you as a creative? Like
Mhm.
how can we encourage you more? How can we make you better? What's that look like?
Oh my gosh. That's another great question.
He says giving you money.
No. Oh gosh, I don't even know. Telling people, continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, giving another platform for these creatives. You know, and seeing you all are showing a behind the scenes. You know, I'm used to just, you know, welcome to Buck Adams. You know, tell me about. You know,
Yeah.
people get just
Here's
a
what I've got
little
for sale. Yeah.
the snippet. So.
Yeah.
What you could do for me, keep doing what you're doing.
Tell the
Telling
stories.
people
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
How
cool.
did you
Good.
get here? How
That's
did you
cool.
get to where you're at? What, you know, all of that.
Yeah.
And I was so crazy. I was just thinking about this, not even knowing exactly what this was going to be like
Mhm.
and how much more interesting it would be for me to learn more of these stories
Yeah.
behind.
That's exactly right. And I think that's one of the fun things we've been doing is really wanting to encourage creatives. We keep talking about that
Yes.
creative who's either young or now with COVID, maybe they've
Yes.
left their other job and they're wanting to branch out on their hobby.
Yes.
And how can we help them? And so we talk about like the business of creativity, you know,
Mhm.
the commerce side of it, of how to make money, you know,
Right.
how to pay your bills, how to make sure you have a good attorney.
Right.
But more than that, we want to figure out how to really inspire people to do that. And
Yes.
I think again, you embody that as a, like I said, Oklahoma's cheerleader. You're really the one who I see day after day in Tulsa of revitalizing our community, revitalizing our what we're doing here with an enthusiasm, excitement. You're bringing just creativity in bold ways, and thank you for that. That's
Thank
really super
you.
cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
And thanks for giving us the opportunity to encourage other people with your story.
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of
I
course.
think
This,
your story is very inspiring to me, and I'm sure it will be inspiring to our listeners. And hopefully, you guys enjoyed hearing more about Buck Adam and all about Mary Beth and her story.
Definitely, if you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, ever driving through, in fact, maybe get on a plane and fly here just to see some of the fun stuff going on. Mother Road Market is right down the street. It's one of Oklahoma's largest food halls. I think it's only food hall. It's an amazing place, and obviously lots of other really cool stores in town along Route 66. There's Decapolis. There's obviously Buck Adams. Ida Red is not far away. Got a couple of stores for Ida Red. Just some really fun places here
The Indian
to do and
shop,
see.
is it still
I don't
open?
know.
I know Lions moved
I
down the
don't know.
street.
Well,
It's not quite on Route 66.
probably
It's
should
still
have
a
done
cool
our
shop.
research before we start naming places. Anyway, we would love to see you in Tulsa and come to visit here. But more than that, we want to inspire creativity. And I think that's what we're about at the Joe and Todd Show, is just helping inspire you. So if you have questions, be sure and email us, call us, whatever that takes to understand better how to do what you want to do. So you can email me at joe@rumbledrum.com.
Or email me. I'll probably respond faster at todd@rumbledrum.com.
That's true. He responds faster. Like us on Facebook and Instagram, all the social media, LinkedIn, even for the boring people. And we're everywhere. Like us, follow us. It'd mean the world to us if you would tell your friends about us and what's going on. And more than that, we just want to inspire you to become better and go further today.
Before we leave, how do people connect with you?
so we have a website, Buck
Okay.
Adams. It's buckadamson66.com.
With a
So-
T.
Perfect.
With a T. BUCKATOMS on 66.com.
Perfect.
All social media at Buck Adams on 66. If you'd like to email me, buckadamson66@gmail.com.
Perfect.
And come see me at 1347 East 11th Street on the Mother Road, Route 66.
And there's a bed and breakfast next door. You can always stay on that. Is
Yes.
that-
Yes.
Can you find out reservations from
Yeah,
Buck
we
Adams?
can give that information. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on Airbnb. So it's
Yeah.
Buck's
Oh, perfect.
Cosmic
Fine.
Crash Pad.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Well, this has been great. Thanks again
Thank you.
for coming today and just being
been
a part.
a blast.
It's really fun. So We'll see you next week or whenever you tune in again, and we'd love to talk more about creativity.
Yeah.
Have a great
Thank y'all
week.
for joining. Take care.